just like.
So it's the same with the football expert.
Hi David.
How you doing?
Hi David. Good, yeah.
So you just down Friday?
Literally predicted that. Word for word.
I was like, it's brilliant 'cause it takes the heat off me for
Yeah.
It's the end of the season, you know, it's just tailing off.
In PLP, I've given up.
David, how's it feel around the place this week? Obviously, a morale boosting win, a bit of pride shown last week. How is the feeling? Have you actually managed to get over relegation because of what happened last week?
Well, we're pleased with the result and we're pleased with the performance, but we've been pleased with the performances for quite a few weeks. But no, we're not over the feeling of relegation, but we're trying to put it behind us, and we're trying to win as many games as we can in the ones remaining to try and give ourselves a lift going into the new season.
The fans were there again in their numbers last week, despite the fact that the team had been relegated. Do you want to finish strongly until the end of the season to give them hope for next year?
I don't think the Sunderland fans will go away. I think they've been disappointed, and I'm sure there'll be a few, vented their anger at different times during the season. But the supporters will not go away at Sunderland. They're a greatly supported club. Whether it be home or away, they come in their numbers, and it's the big thing about Sunderland. They have a great fan base.
And if you finish strongly, can it give you some kind of building blocks for next season? Can it allow the players to go away from summer and look forward to coming back?
Well, I think we're looking for nuggets of encouragement. I think through the year, Jordan's been a great sort of source of encouragement because of his performance. I thought George Honeyman's last week gave us a little bit of help and showed people that there's that we've got one or two other players coming through. So we want that, but we also want to win, and we want to finish the season as strong as we can.
Last week you said that you want to stay at the club. Has anything changed in the last week? Have you had any more conversations with the hierarchy?
No, the initial conversations and my plans to the owner of roughly going in and what I think it looks like. We're due to meet after the end of the season, and we'll see what they look like.
Is your future then dependent on those talks?
Well, I think what I want to know is I want to see what way we're going to go and how we're going to do it, because me or the players or the supporters, we certainly don't want to be in the lower leagues. That's for sure. We want to get back into the big league, and I want to try and give the club every opportunity to do that.
Despite the fact that you still say you need to have those talks, are you able at this moment to push ahead with transfer plans for next season? Yeah,
of course. I mean, I've got a 4-year contract here. We're all working to try and get things right behind the scenes, whether it be pre-season, whether it be the plans for players. We're trying to put everything in place and get things ready. So we're trying to get on with things and make things right.
When Newcastle went down last season, Rafa Benitez built a squad that was there to win the championship. It looks as though they'll have sort of wholesale changes for going up this season. Is that what you think is perhaps needed here, that you need to build particularly for the championship?
Yeah, I do. I think we'll have to build anyway, because there will be a number of players that will leave. But because we were short of players this season, we sort of bulked the squad up with loan players and a couple of free transfers. Well, it'll mean that if those players go back to their parent clubs and the free transfers are not kept, then our numbers are back to low numbers. So that will give us a little bit of a problem. But I hope that we're able to build a team which gives us every chance of getting straight back up. Obviously, we're going to have to look at a certain type of player which maybe we've not looked at, and they're the sort of things we're looking at behind the scenes.
It sounds as though the supporters then can expect to see a real transformation for next season, almost a complete overhaul of the squad.
I would think so in many ways, yes. But again, they're part of the ongoing discussions with the owner to see that we're able to do that.
Can I ask you about Jermaine Defoe? Obviously he's got this clause in his contract that you mentioned last week. If he does go, which you would expect in the summer, will be his last home game this weekend. What has he been like for this club, and will it be a nice sort of fitting farewell for him to win the game and score?
Well, it was great that he got a goal last week, because he's missed a few goals lately, and he actually had 2 good chances in the game, and by his own admittance, he said, I couldn't believe he'd sort of not get them away or get shots away. But he got his goal, and that's what Jermaine does. He's scored goals. We've needed his goals all year. We hope Jermaine stays. You know, everybody at the club wants him to stay. All the supporters want him to stay. But it has to be Jermaine's decision what he does. And yeah, there's a clause in the contract which is hard to take. I think. You know, I would hope that in my time, if I had been the manager, I wouldn't have allowed a clause like that to be in there. But it is, and obviously we have to honour the contract.
Will it be difficult to try and convince him to stay and play in the Championship?
Well, I think that's a question for Jermaine. You know, obviously he's got himself back in the England team. He'll want to, I'm sure, push and try and be a member of the World Cup squad. And I think he'll be thinking it's hard to do that if I'm a Championship player.
Just finally from me, can I ask you about the FA charge? I believe you've asked for a personal hearing. Can you just clear up whether you've accepted it or contested it?
All I'd say is it's an ongoing case. I'm certainly not going to talk about it. I think it's been talked about enough by other people from the FA, so I'll wait to the time when I go and meet them.
But that gives you an opportunity to explain yourself and talk to them face to face.
Correct, yeah. Correct.
Thank you.
David, Swansea got an excellent result last weekend to pull themselves out of relegation zone. But like Hull, I guess they'll play with that extra bit of pressure, won't they? Can you play on that?
I hope so, but I would rather be in their position than my position, that's for sure, with a bit of pressure on me and a chance of staying up. But we're not, and we have to try and, you know, do what we've done. I think we've played relatively well in some of the games recently, just not quite get the results. I keep talking about it, Watford, Leicester, you know, Bournemouth at home, Burnley at home. We should have quite easily taken maybe more points in a lot of those games than we did do. So we've got to try and play like we did at Hull. They had a few chances at Hull and we made some good saves. They missed a couple of chances, but on the couple of occasions we get chances, we took them. I think we have been making more chances to score in recent games. That's the one thing I would say. I think we've looked a little bit more lightly, and I'm hoping we can do it against Swansea. But Swansea have got their bit what they've got to fight for as well.
Is everyone fit and available?
We've got a problem with George Honeyman. George Honeyman has got an injury in training to his back. Lamine Coney fell on top of him, so it's caused him a problem, and I think we're going to miss George, who was great for us last week. And I'm trying to introduce some younger players as well to try and give them a chance to show what they can do. And I think George's performance last week obviously would have merited another start this week, so I'm disappointed that George won't make it.
In a couple of weeks then for the younger players, chance to impress you, not just in the next 3 games potentially, but also a massive European Cup final next week where the fans yet again are coming out. We touched on it earlier. Yeah,
I think that I think it's a big achievement. You know, for us at Sunderland here to get teams into a sort of European type final for the young players is good. And I've been fortunate. I've watched a few of the games this year. I watched them against PSV, watched against Benfica, and I've enjoyed the games. I really have. And I think it's a good idea for the young players in this country to get them European experience. And for that reason, you know, it's great for the players that they're playing in it. Obviously, George Honeyman, for example, is young enough to play it in. So is Lyndon Gooch. So is Donald Love. These are all the boys who have been playing in the first team, but they're actually all young enough yet to play in that game as well.
Thank you.
David, you said there's a lot of fences to jump before next season, but does that under-23 squad and getting to the final, does that give you a little bit of encouragement that there's raw material in this club?
Well, I think there is some players who at the moment, you know, we've introduced, and we've had to do it partly because of numbers, but I also think there's 2 or 3 of them with a real chance of stepping up. But I talk about George Honeyman, who's 22, 23 now, so he's not come in as an 18-year-old boy, so sometimes, you know, they're needing to be a little bit longer. I think maybe the Championship will make it a little bit easier to pull in some players. The Premier League, as you know, winning's important, so important every week, that it makes it hard, as you can see it. The majority of clubs, and that's why so many English young players are not getting played as often as they should be.
You've touched on it, but after the season that the club's had, it would be nice to give the fans just something to go for in the summer. The last home game, a good performance, a good result.
Yeah, well, we gave the away supporters, I thought, a good performance and a result last week. I think our performances at home in recent games have merited more than they've not got it. I hope we can do it. I hope we can get them the results. their support's been terrific all year. They've turned out in their numbers as I would expect. But I've got to say that would like to give them a good finish.
David Andrew from BBC. Just one question, which is a broader one, which is about Phil Neville wrote about this last year, about the balance of power in football seemingly heading south, that we have Sunderland going down, Middlesbrough going down, and who knows, Hull may be going down as well. And we see an increasing number of Premier League teams coming from Brighton, Bournemouth and the south. And I just wondered whether you thought there was anything in that football, and Phil Neville's argument was that sometimes players are just attracted to southern clubs. They're near London, they come from foreign climes, and that those teams now can compete with wages. I wondered if you saw anything in that.
Yeah. I do see that, and I would agree in some of the points. And I think I've felt it as a manager here already. You know, there's several players we hoped and expected to have signed in the summer who chose to go to other clubs who were further south. So I do agree with that. But I also think that football goes in cycles a little bit. I've got no doubt that it won't be too long till the teams up here are more attractive. At the moment, league positions are always the thing. I think if you're a player, you want to go and play, you want to be playing as high a league position as you can. And while I can only talk about Sunderland, we're not in a good enough position. I think we're not that attractive to players to come to.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers, thank you. Cheers.
What weight is Liam Coney?